Don't you hate it when you're off by half a stitch? It's maddening. Hi, I'm Sharon, and this is episode 4 of the Sampler Style podcast. Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 4. This is a show about my cross-stitching journey, and I'm so happy that you have joined me today. So I also record a knitting show every week, and I'm taking a little break from that because my husband had hernia surgery last week, and he came out of the surgery great. He had hardly any pain, and he's doing very well, but I've been driving him around and taking care of him, so I took a little break from my other show, but I had a little time this afternoon, so I thought I would pull out my stitching and have a little chat with you. So you can also find me on Instagram as Sampler Style, and yeah, if you want to follow my stitching journey there, just follow me along there. I've been getting quite a few new followers. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's get into the stitching. So I have a finish this week. So this is my first finish. I'm going to call it my first Flosstube finish because it's the first stitched piece that I started during my floss tubing time and have now finished during my floss tubing time. So that piece is Thy Love Divine by Hands Across the Sea, and it is finished. And it's completely gorgeous, you guys. I love it. Let me give you a close-up of the stitching. So I'll put in a picture of where I was last time over here, so you can see how far I got in 2 weeks. And I finished this rice stitch at the bottom. Loved doing that stitch. It was a lot. There were over 5,000 crosses in this bottom panel. Probably what took me the longest. But it was really fun to stitch. So, and I also learned a new technique, which was really, really cool. Then I stitched the border. I finished the border. I'm finding that stitching the border as I go is best for me. I know that many people stitch the entire border first and then stitch the meat of the sampler. I prefer not to do that, first of all, because I don't want to get bored. And second of all, I think I'm more accurate if I just do a little bit of the border and then a piece of the middle, because I can line it up and I can make sure everything is lining up. So I didn't have any problems lining this up. The border met no problem in this corner, which is where I finished the sampler. I always start from the top left, finish in the bottom right, kind of like you do when you read. Just makes the most sense to me. And the way I cross my stitches, that works best for me, to go from top to bottom. I will be giving this away to my step-granddaughter and her fiance. They will be getting married in May, and I did not show you the date of the wedding. I covered it up for privacy reasons. We can't go to the wedding because it's my son's graduation that day. So he's graduating. He graduated last year, but due to COVID couldn't walk the stage, but this year he's able to. So can't go to the wedding, but I did do this nice sampler. So when I was at my local needle shop last week, she gave me a card of a framer who is local to me, literally like 5 minutes away, which is super cool. So I'm going to take this over there to that framer, and I'm going to have it framed locally. I'm going to try them out. They specialize in stitching. That's awesome. So the reason I normally would send it to Paige the framer. She's amazing, but I'm hoping maybe they could do it a little quicker for me. I mean, I don't know. And the main reason is I want to see it before it goes out in the mail. I would normally just have Paige mail it out. I had her do that with one of my samplers that I did for my daughter, and I've seen it since because I go to her apartment all the time, but I don't know when I would ever see this again because they don't live in my state. So I want to see it framed. So I will be taking that over there next week, probably Monday if they're open, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And here's the back in case you're interested. It's pretty good. It's not bad. I try to keep my backs as neat as I possibly can. I am probably not, I'm not the neatest stitcher in the world, but I'm not bad. It's kind of a game to me to try to keep it as neat as I possibly can. And yeah, that one is finished. I loved stitching it. It was so much fun. It went really fast. Oh, and I stitched it on 36 count Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigert, and the threads look beautiful on it. These are the threads that I used. I used all DMC. This is my conversion. So I converted Nicola's colors to more of wedding colors. They're very colorful, kind of a muted rainbow-ish style. And I love how it came out, particularly this bottom panel. I think came out really great. I picked the colors. I converted them myself. If you're interested in that conversion, you can look in the description box down below, and it will show what Nicola chose for DMC and then what I chose for DMC. And yeah, if you're interested in this, it's right there for you. If for some reason you can't find it, just send me an email. Sharon, wait, I'm giving you my other email from my other show. My email for this show is samplerstyleflosstube@gmail.com. If you ever want to contact me for any reason, you can contact me there. And I think that's in the description box down below as well. So that's that one. I am very pleased with how it came out. And it's so exciting to have a finish. Okay, so now that I'm finished with that, I'm going to talk a little bit today about what I'm discovering about myself, what I like to stitch, what kind of fabrics I like to stitch on, what kind of flosses I like to stitch on. But what I did for this, for my focus piece, now that I'm finished with that, that was unexpected. It was kind of, I found out that there was a wedding in the family, and I'm like, oh, I could make them a sampler. And I started it in February, and I finished it last week. It took me 41 days, between 80 and 100 hours to finish it. So I wasn't really expecting on stitching that, but I did, and it's done. So now I'm back to my original focus piece, which was Coming to America by Brenda Gervais. And it is just a beautiful piece. I'm kind of on a boring part right now. I'm stitching the names. It's fine. I like stitching lettering. It's just a lot. It's a lot of names. And okay, so let me show you. Here is my Coming to America. It is really a beautiful sampler. I really only picked it up this morning. And I did this name, Martin. That's what I did this morning. And it took me like an hour and a half to do that one name because I kept messing it up. And I was messing it up because I kept missing where the hole should be, and I was off by half a stitch. Don't you hate it when you're off by half a stitch? It's maddening. Honestly, it's really maddening to me. But I got it fixed, and I managed to get that one name in. So I have a few more names to do, and then I can start the bottom part of the sampler, and then this will be done. That will make me happy. And yeah, then I'll pick a new focus piece. So I'm finding that I like having a large focus piece. However, I kind of do like to mix it up a little bit with other pieces. So, oh, by the way, these are the threads for Coming to America. And this is stitched also on Vintage Country Mocha 40 count. And I love this color. It's such a beautiful neutral, and so many different colors look great on it. So yeah. As I was saying, I love having one large focus piece, but I also like having options for other kinds of stitching. So last week I showed you the modern folk embroidery piece that I started that I'm just working on a little bit at a time. So I'm putting in maybe one thread a day if I can manage it, if I don't get too busy. And that is, let's see if I can remember it off the top of my head. I can't. So this piece is Modern Folk Embroideries Il Fazzoletto Ricamato, which translates loosely to the hanky sampler. And I only had these two motifs done, but now I finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. So I'm getting one done like every other day. Not bad. I mean, this is going to be a year or more. I mean, this is just because I love it and just breaks up my other stitching. So I'm just stitching on it a little bit at a time. I'll put in a picture of where I was last time so you can see. And it's beautiful. Count Bramble by Picture This Plus, and I'm using all the called for threads, and the threads are absolutely beautiful, as you can see. And yeah, it's just a nice long-term project that I am really enjoying. So of course, even though I have those two huge projects going, I finished something, so I started something else. So I have another new start for this week. This is not new to you stitchers out there. This happens all the time, and I'm okay with it. So I started Alice Biertpn 1885. And the reason I chose this was twofold. I felt like I had the perfect fabric and the perfect floss for it. So I had purchased that chart last fall and just put it away and figured I'd find something for it eventually. And here's my start. So I'm stitching it on this gorgeous piece of X-Jude Designs Old Mushroom in 40 count. And last week I had shown you that I had purchased some Gloriana threads, silk threads in Schoolhouse Red, and I wanted to use those threads on this fabric. So this was perfect. So here's the thread. And as you can see, I put this thread on a bobbin, just a plain DMC bobbin. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this for all my silk moving forward, because I don't want to put silk on thread drops, because I don't want it to get fuzzy. After you pull it out, even cotton threads, I find that once you're toward the end of pulling them all out, they get kind of fuzzy, and I don't want that to happen with silk. So what I decided to do was put them on bobbins, and I am going to keep them in floss away bags, and it just makes it very easy. So I'm cutting off a ½ yard, 18 inches, and then I'm just pulling from that. So this is a 12 strand skein. So each thick thread has 12 strands. That's a lot. If you hung those on thread drops, that would get fuzzy. So I have this 18-inch piece that I just cut off this bobbin, and I'm just pulling the threads from here, and I'm not getting the fuzzies because it's just coming off this one thing. So I think I have 4 left on here, and they are perfect. They're just fine. So I just fold them into a little circle and keep them right in this floss away bag. And moving forward, that's what I'm going to be doing if I stitch with silk. And let me tell you, I like stitching with silk. I like stitching with cotton too, but this, I can see why people like stitching on the higher counts with silk. It's like butter. It's gorgeous. Oh my goodness. So I'm not gonna lie, this border is a little tedious. There's just, I can't get into a rhythm with it, but I don't care because the silk is just lovely. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of the border at a time and then just put the letters in as I go. And yeah, I'm enamored of this. I could easily make this my focus piece, but I do want to get Coming to America finished. So I'm putting in 1 to 2 threads a day on this, and again, it's just a long-term relaxing project. You know, I'm good with that. I'm very low-key with my stitching. There's no deadlines. I'm just having fun with it, which I believe you're supposed to do when it's a fun hobby and not your job, which I'm almost feeling like it's my job because that's all I think about lately. Okay, so I have one more project to show you. This is my Dark 13 stitching, and there is a hashtag on Instagram. I think it's called Dark 13 Stitching, hashtag Dark 13 Stitching. And this is Halloween Queen by Not Forgotten Farm. She is so cool, and I have her in a hoop because I was working on her today. Here she is. Love her. So I'll put in a progress picture of where I was last time. I got quite a bit done. I did her arms. I'm working on down her dress. And I'm hoping to finish her by June. I'm hoping, because after this it's just some words and then a bottom border and she'll be finished. So these are the threads. They're beautiful. I cut them long because I'm stitching her with 2 threads, 2 cotton DMC threads over 36 count vintage country mocha Zweigart base, which is the other piece of the finish I had this week. I had a big piece and I cut it in half and used it for both of these projects. And I love her. She's great. Okay, plans. Now, I talked a little bit about what I like to stitch. I like to stitch with silk. So, last fall when I was just getting my feet wet into, serious stitching, I ordered a lot of things, and I really like autumn stitching for the fall. As a matter of fact, pretty much most of the projects I'll be doing from here until November will be fall related. I don't stitch patriotic, and I don't plan on stitching any spring things this year. Just not feeling it. I'm kind of in the mood to stitch fall, even though it's middle of April. That's how I was last year. I finished my Halloween, a sampler I had going last year, Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Jack's Halloween Dream. I finished that last year in the spring. So yeah, I'm kind of more into like fall things right now. Last fall I had ordered this chart, Goultide Welcome by Plum Street. I love this. So many people on Instagram were stitching this last year, and that's why I ordered it, because I loved it. And I ended up ordering it as a kit from 123 Stitch, and they kitted it with silk. And I kind of didn't know I was going to stitch it on 36 count with 2 strands, and then I decided, no, I'm not going to do that with silk. I wouldn't have enough anyway. But it's kitted with NPIs, and I'm so happy that I got this last fall, because now I know how much I love stitching with silk. These are them. I'm going to be putting them on bobbins probably today. And this is going to be my next dark 13 stitch. So after I finish Halloween Queen, I'm going to be starting this. I love this. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And so the fabric, I had a 36 count picked out. I had this picked out. That looks nice. This is 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus. However, in the meantime, I had gotten this gorgeous, I almost said skein, I'm so used to knitting talk, this gorgeous piece of Extrude Designs Spilled Coffee. And I think this looks even better than the Bramble. It's a little warmer in tone. And it has a lot of modeling or vintaging. So I think this is going to be so pretty. And I'm really excited to start it. So 40 count silk, which is gonna go like butter, and this beautiful fabric and that beautiful chart. I'm very excited about it, but probably not. I'm not gonna start that until my Halloween Queen is finished. So, but I can open up those beautiful silks and put them on bobbins and get them ready. I'll show you next time how they look. So that's fun. And I have one other plan to talk about. So Brenda and Laura of Brenda and the Serial Starter are having a Blackbird Weekend starting the first week of May 1st. And I'm going to join along with that. So we are going to stitch a Blackbird pattern once a month. And that's doable. It's just 1 week. It's 1 week and a month. So I don't care how long it takes me, whatever. I'll probably stitch it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'll do like 4 days a month. So I've picked, you will not be shocked, I picked Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. Y'all have seen this before. It's a beautiful chart. because I'm into the fall stitching. So I do not have the threads for this yet, but it gives me an excuse to get up to my local needle shop, Deer Hill Farms needle shop, that I put pictures in of last week in my show. If you haven't seen my last week's show, go back and watch that. I put some footage of that shop in. So I need to go get the threads. I'll probably just do it with the called for cottons, because she has all of those. And this is what I'm thinking. So this is a precious piece of 36 count vintage autumn gold lakeside. I'm obsessed with this color. It's so beautiful. I ordered it last fall. It took a few months to get here, but it's here. And it's gorgeous. It's a double dye, I believe. So I think they dye it one gold color and then they over dye it again with another color, and it's beautiful. I think it's a little more money than some of their other colors too. That's probably why, because it's probably dyed twice. So yeah. And if for some reason the colors don't look good on it, I can always use this, which would also work. This is that 36 count oaken. But I'm thinking, I like oaken, but I don't think it's warm enough. I'll find something for the oaken. I'm not really worried about it. It's beautiful. Well, if the threads don't work, then I'll just pick out some other threads. I'll bring this to the shop and then put the threads on it. So that's it for the plans. That's enough. I have a lot of stitching to do. And the only other thing I wanted to talk to you about today is I have a little bit of haul. Fabric. So, like I said last week, I ordered fabric months ago from Rogue Stitching. I will put their link down below. They have a lot of Picture This Plus in right now, or they did last week. So if you want to check them out, they probably have quite a bit. So I ordered Murky. .36 count, fat half. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I'll find something. Lots of things are stitched on Murky. I'll find something at some point. I wanted to have it. It's kind of funny because it reminds me of a piece of linen that I dyed myself. Sometime I just kind of tried it out, and this is a piece I dyed. It's not quite as warm as the Murky. Yeah, the Murky this is much cooler. It's got a gray overtone, which this does too, but I think the undertone of this is on a warmer color. But yeah, I'll figure something out what to do with this piece at some point as well. And I also got 36 count Ancient. I love this. I love pieces with different colors. So it's this golden base with some blue vintaging in it. I could put a wavy ride on this too. Maybe. I don't know. We shall see. And I also joined Color & Cotton's Thread Club. They had an opening and I joined. So they have they have a bunch of options. You can get silk too. I probably should have got their silk, but I just got their cottons and they're gorgeous. So I got their sampler threads. So you get 3 threads that are more muted in color. And these are the threads I got. I love them. This is seaweed. This is bronze. And this is old lace, which is the name of one of my colorways I dye. I dye yarn. I have a colorway named Old Lace. And I also got their bright colors, because I like bright colors. So, this red, beautiful Dracula. I'd like more of this, please. It's like a variegated red. It's gorgeous. Purple Parrot. And melon. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. If you enjoy this content, I would really very much appreciate it if you would subscribe to this channel. Subscribing to me or any one of your other floss tubers that you enjoy is just a great gift to us. It really helps our shows grow, and I would really appreciate that. Something else that would help us grow is to give this a thumbs up and to also make a comment, and I will try to respond to those. And yeah, that would be awesome if you could do that. So I hope you have a good couple of weeks. Enjoy the nice spring weather that's coming. I know I will be doing some outdoor stitching as soon as I possibly can, and I hope that you can do the same. Okay, everybody, have a great week, stitch something beautiful, and cheers!